Hi there. Welcome to Uniquely Useful with Tracy T. My name is Tracy Threlfall, and I am so happy and grateful that you're joining me here today at Hummingbird Oaks in Rosemont, California. And I am here to talk with you about the law of attraction and other spiritual truths, and have you join me as I join you on our spiritual journey to find peace and joy and abundance and love in our life. And isn't that all we want? Isn't that what we all want? And so by sharing with you, I am reminding myself, and I'm just so happy and grateful that you joined me here today. So today we're going to be talking about some things that have come up for me over this past week. When I started this journey, my goal was to root out the negativity in my life that causes me to vibrate down here and attract more negativity in my life. My goal was to raise my vibration where I was attracting more positivity into my life. And I can tell you right now that since June, I can't even see where I was from then until now. Things have improved so much. And the reason that they've improved is because I have been crystal clear, not only with you, but with everybody around me, about my commitment to remaining positive, to my commitment to weeding out those negative areas of my life, those problem areas that block me from the sunlight of the Spirit, that block me from my source, that I choose to call God, and his highest evolved kid, 32-year-old hot Jesus. But, we're all his kids, every single one of us, and he loves us all the same. And what I've really come to understand over the past week is that whether we're vibrating low or whether we're vibrating high, we're all vibrating from the same source, and that we belong to each other, every single one of us. And I know how hard it is when somebody has wounded us, when somebody has shocked us, when somebody has pulled the rug out from under us. It's hard to remember that we're connected to those people. It's hard to remember that we all spring from that same fountain of joy and love and truth that is our source. And thank God for those of you who continue to remind me and allow me to remind myself and others that there is only one road home, and that road is love. And that I can choose that at any time. I can choose happiness at any time. I can choose forgiveness anytime. Oh, but wait, I have been so hurt. Trust when I tell you that I get it. I am absolutely convinced that the people who are led to these messages, that are on this spiritual path, are those of us that have been broken, that have been shattered, that have been harmed in ways, some great, some small, that has cracked the illusion of this world. And, I've mentioned in previous videos that my whole world is the sum total of my thoughts about you, about everyone around me, and the world around me, and that I have created this world. We are creating all the time. All the time. Whether we're consciously or unconsciously creating, we are all creating. If we're vibrating low, we're creating down here. If we're vibrating high, we're creating up here. But we are cooperating with Source at every moment by the thoughts that we are thinking. And what I know is that I don't want to create from down here anymore. And I have to have that freedom to be happy, to be joyous and free. And how can I do that when I am mired down in depression and anxiety and resentment? One of my favorite people, who is now on the other side of the veil, used to say, resentment is just having a feeling about something twice. A negative thought, a hurt thought, a sad thought. It's just having a negative thought twice. And so I know today that I am responsible for training my thoughts. And I like to think about it as, a rescue pit bull on a chain. That's what my brain is. And it's very sweet and kind and loving, but can be set off just like that. And if I don't keep her on the chain, she's going to slip the leash and be down the road and mauling the children, and then and then it's gory and it's horrible. And so I keep her on a very tight leash today. But I've had the opportunity to do some deep work with some people that are very close to me. And the topic recently has been forgiveness and our attachment to those of us that have harmed us. Emmett Fox, in his book Sermon on the Mount, talks about, in the back of the book, he breaks apart the Lord's Prayer line by line. And this is acknowledged by many in the Christian faith to be the apex of the Christian prayers. Emmett Fox says that it is the complete unfoldment for our spiritual life. And part of that prayer is, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Not if we, not when we, but as we. So my own forgiveness, my own freedom, my own safety comes from my forgiveness of others. And, I've done a lot of deep work on this over the years, but what I've also found is that in extreme moments of crisis, I have been, that old trauma has been brought up again and again and again. And over these last few months, I've had the opportunity to really look at that for myself and for the people around me. And let me assure you, I am no saint. Any harm that's been done to me, I have given to others and then some. And not deliberately, not consciously, but just as a harmed person that was not seeking the solution. And so to be forgiven for my own separation from Source, I have had to offer that forgiveness to others. And in working with somebody that I love so much yesterday, we came up with a visual of Cell Block A, who is the people that there are top 6 people that have harmed us. And we talked about working at the prison. Every single person who has harmed us is in one of those cell blocks on Cell Block A. And in order for them to remain in prison, we have to keep them there. Emmett Fox goes into this in detail in this section of his book. And so it takes them being in there and us on the outside holding the keys. This big ring of keys for all these people that have hurt us. And we keep them in prison, and by doing so, we keep ourselves imprisoned every time we go back and visit Cell Block A and we look in those bars and we revisit the harms that those people have caused us. And I don't need to tell you who yours are. You know who they are. And I can't go into specifics of who mine are because most of them are still alive. My mother, however, has passed. She died in 2002, and my mother was she had some grave difficulty. Looking back from this perspective as a grown woman in recovery, I think there was substance use disorder. I think there was bipolar disorder. I think there was mood disorder. And, probably some ego and narcissism, because, that all goes kind of hand in hand. And, she had suffered through some major traumas, and she took that out on us. And whether deliberately, consciously, or not, that affected both my brother and I. And so we, in turn, dealt with our problems in unhealthy ways. And it wasn't until 1989 where I was able to take advantage of and join a group of people who don't drink on purpose and begin to change my life. But what I'm saying is, for years, cell block A, number 1 cell, was occupied by my mother. And I used that as my reason why I had trouble being honest, why I needed to drink, why this, why that, fill in the blanks. And what I realized is, and especially working with my friend yesterday on that cell block, I had to leave the peace and freedom of my own internal home that I have in my mind, in my heart. It's actually, I have this visualization of this home in Stinson Beach with high ceilings and big windows that looks over the ocean. I can smell the eucalyptus. That is what lives inside me. And so I have to leave that place of peace and freedom, head down to the cell block, go right there to cell block 1, and there's Mama, and relive those painful thoughts, those harms. And, what I learned a long time ago is that sort of memory is very selective. I could not see my own part. I could not see where much of it was not my fault, but some of it was. My judgment, my self-pity, my inability to forgive, my withdrawal, my neglect, sprung from my inability to forgive as an adult. And so every time I go there, I have to literally put on the prison guard uniform, grab the keys, and head on over. And so the exercise that I did with my friend yesterday, we went to cell block A. And it's impossible. When you go and visit, for me, going and visiting Mama in cell block A, I'm still a child, she's still an adult, and she is screaming, yelling, hitting. And I did not have the bandwidth to deal with that as a child. But what I have as an adult is the ability to shrink her in my mind's eye to the age where I can love her unconditionally, where I can see the little girl who grew up in poverty, who was hungry and had too much responsibility thrust on her at too young an age, and who dealt with that harm. And so in my mind's eye, I am able to shrink her down to the age of that little girl that lived on a sharecropper farm at 5 years old with a dirty face and sweaty curls. And I am able to go into that cell and pick that little girl up and tell her, I fully and freely forgive you, Mary Lucille. I release you and let you go. This is of no consequence to you or to me. We are both free with the perfect peace of God. And I am able to pick her up, step back from the cell, turn around and give her to 32-year-old hot Jesus. who in my mind's eye looks a lot like Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. And he takes her, and they turn and they walk down the cell block. And I know that when I step behind the veil, I will be able to hold my arms out to her again with that peace and with that freedom and with that joy. I know that there are people in your life that you are struggling to forgive. I know that you have been harmed. If I have harmed you, I am happy to discuss that with you. But what I know is that that cell block has closed and it's not on the mile anymore. Now there's a few more. And again, I can't discuss the ones that are still alive because they're still alive. But I hope that they know that they don't occupy a cell anymore either. That I have forgiven them, and I hope that someday they can forgive me for my part and whatever harm that was caused. And by offering that forgiveness, by offering that peace, we are free to create. We are free to walk unencumbered into our internal home. And I challenge you today to sit quietly within yourself and create that home of your dreams internally. No matter where it is, a cabin, a mansion, a castle, that you create this and you have that place that you can go inside and sit down with your visualization of your source energy, and that you can find peace and you can begin to imagine the life of your dreams. I'm so glad you joined me here today. And I look forward to meeting with you again. If you have found any portion of this message helpful, like, subscribe, share. Because this is my passion. You are my passion. And I am so grateful that we are doing this together. So until next time, I'm Tracy Threlfall with Uniquely Useful. I'll see you soon.